So this is a short introduction to the question of standing in Lanham Act false advertising cases. Scalia hated the term standing for this, but while lower courts are absolutely complying with Lexmark, they are often refusing to abide by his distaste for the word, particularly because he provided no substitute single term to use to explain what we're asking here, which is statutory entitlement to sue. The language of the law appears to provide standing to any person who believes that he or she is likely to be damaged. Courts have not interpreted this literally. You must show some likelihood of actual damage, though, as you may recall, that likelihood is often presumed in cases of comparative advertising, or at least in cases of competition. Still, by its terms, the language seems to suggest that consumers who are deceived by advertising ought to have standing. The reasons courts have offered to limit standing so that consumers are not entitled to sue under the Lanham Act is that the statute was meant to protect competitors, not consumers. Counterpoint answer is that the prefatory language to which the court refers in Lexmark is indicating a purpose to protect people engaged in commerce, and consumers are in fact engaged in commerce. Another argument is that competitors are better plaintiffs because of their greater financial resources and knowledge. They can detect false advertising better than consumers can. Counterpoint being, well, it's true, but their interests don't always align with those of actual consumers. Consider cigarette manufacturers, for example. And class actions also prove that consumers can figure out falsity and litigate against it with resources created by the class mechanism. A third argument against standing for consumers is that consumers have state remedies for false advertising, and also state and federal authorities can act on their behalf. A fourth argument is that Congress knew about the interpretations of the federal courts finding no consumer standing and left the language alone when it amended the statute in 1988 and made other false advertising related changes, so accepting the no standing for consumers argument. Fifth, and in fact the real reason, allowing consumer suits would cause a flood of Lanham Act false advertising lawsuits, and courts don't want that. So Lexmark says that the test is zone of interest plus proximate causation. Zone of interest asks, well, who is the intended beneficiary of the law? And out of this, the court derives the idea that a plaintiff must allege an injury to a commercial interest in reputation or sales. This excludes consumers. Note that the court quickly says, though, well, unfair competition doesn't actually require competition, so it's not a competitor standard. Second, you need to show proximate causation. And we can talk in class if you have questions about the concept of proximate causation as applied here. It is tricky conceptually because false advertising, like trademark infringement, inherently involves at least two steps. The consumer believes the misrepresentation, and the plaintiff is harmed by the results of the consumer's belief, not directly by the defendant's act. Still, the court says that can be proximate cause because we know that's what Congress wanted. Proximate cause is a question of law, not a question of fact. So that's our introduction, and we will explore this further in class. Thank you.